What if the secret to achieving any goal isn't what most people think? What if the key to success isn't visualization, motivation, or even having the right strategy? What if there's a simple shift in focus that can transform anyone from a chronic procrastinator into a consistent achiever, from someone who starts and quits into someone who follows through to completion? Today we're exploring Focus on the Process by Thibaut Meurisse, a book that reveals the counterintuitive truth about achievement. The people who accomplish the most are those who think about their goals the least. Instead of obsessing over outcomes, successful people become obsessed with systems. Instead of focusing on destinations, they fall in love with the journey. Instead of being motivated by what they want to achieve, they're driven by who they want to become through the daily practice of showing up. This isn't just another productivity hack or time management technique. This is a fundamental rewiring of how you approach every goal, dream, and aspiration in your life. It's about discovering that the process isn't just the path to the goal. The process is the goal. Most people fail to achieve their dreams not because they lack talent, resources, or opportunities, but because they're focused on the wrong thing. They're staring at the mountain peak while stumbling over the rocks right in front of them. They're so consumed with where they want to end up that they never master where they are right now. Over the next 30 minutes, we'll discover why outcome-focused thinking sabotages success, how to develop an unshakable process. Focused mindset and the practical systems that turn ordinary people into extraordinary achievers. Prepare to completely revolutionize your relationship with goals and discover the simple secret that separates those who dream from those who achieve. Chapter 1. The problem with outcome-focused thinking. Meurisse begins by exposing the fundamental flaw in how most people approach their goals. From childhood, we're taught to focus on outcomes, get good grades, win the game, achieve the target, reach the destination. But this outcome-focused mindset, while seemingly logical, actually creates the very obstacles that prevent achievement. The motivation trap. The author reveals that outcome-based motivation is unreliable and ultimately unsustainable. When you're focused primarily on results, your motivation becomes dependent on seeing progress toward those results. But progress is often invisible in the short term, leading to discouragement and abandonment of the very efforts that would eventually create success. Consider someone trying to lose weight. If they focus solely on the number on the scale, they become discouraged when daily fluctuations hide their actual progress. They abandon their healthy eating and exercise habits precisely when consistency would start producing visible results. The outcome focus actually undermines the behaviors that create the desired outcome. The pressure problem. Meurisse explains how outcome-focused thinking creates performance anxiety that interferes with peak performance. When you're constantly evaluating your progress against your ultimate goal, you're not fully present in the current task. This divided attention reduces the quality of your work and, paradoxically, slows progress toward your goal. Athletes understand this principle intuitively. The basketball player focused on making the shot often misses. The one focused on proper form, follow-through, and technique naturally makes more shots. The same principle applies to every area of achievement: business, relationships, creative projects, and personal development. The all-or-nothing mentality. Outcome-focused thinking promotes an all-or-nothing mentality that makes people fragile. When setbacks occur, and they always do, outcome-focused individuals see these as evidence that their goal is unreachable rather than normal parts of any achievement journey. The entrepreneur focused only on building $1 million company gives up after the first failed venture. The outcome-focused writer abandons their novel after receiving rejection letters. They interpret temporary setbacks as permanent failures because they're measuring everything against their ultimate outcome rather than their current process. The comparison curse. When you focus on outcomes, you inevitably start comparing your results to others' results. This comparison steals joy from your journey and often leads to discouragement or misguided strategy changes. You start wondering why others seem to be progressing faster, achieving more, or succeeding where you're struggling. Meurisse reveals that this comparison is both unfair and counterproductive. You're comparing your behind-the-scenes reality to others' highlight reel. You're measuring your Chapter 1 against their Chapter 20. This comparison mindset prevents you from appreciating your own progress and staying committed to your unique path. Chapter 2. The power of process-focused thinking. Having revealed the problems with outcome-focused thinking, Meurisse introduces the transformative alternative, process-focused thinking. This mindset shift might seem simple, but it's so powerful that it can completely transform your relationship with achievement and success. Sustainable motivation. Process-focused thinking creates sustainable motivation because it's based on daily actions rather than distant outcomes. Instead of being motivated by losing 50 pounds, you're motivated by today's healthy meal choices and exercise session. Instead of being driven by becoming a best-selling author, you're energized by today's writing practice. This daily focus creates what Meurisse calls compound motivation. Each day that you successfully execute your process, you build confidence and momentum. You're not waiting for external validation or visible results to feel good about your efforts. The process itself becomes rewarding, creating an upward spiral of motivation and action. Present moment excellence. When you focus on process, you become fully present in your current task. This presence enables peak performance because all your mental energy is directed toward executing the current step excellently, rather than being scattered across worry about future outcomes or evaluation of overall progress. The process-focused writer isn't thinking about book sales while writing. They're completely absorbed in crafting the current sentence, paragraph, or chapter with skill and care. This presence paradoxically produces better outcomes because the work quality is higher when attention is undivided. Resilience through systems. Process-focused thinking creates resilience because setbacks don't derail your entire approach. When you encounter obstacles or temporary failures, you don't question your worthiness or ability to achieve your goal. Instead, you evaluate and adjust your process while maintaining your commitment to consistent daily action. The process-focused entrepreneur who experiences a failed product launch doesn't see this as evidence they should quit. They see it as feedback about what to adjust in their development, marketing, or customer research processes. They remain confident because their identity is built on being someone who executes consistently, not someone who never experiences setbacks. Identity-based achievement. Meurisse reveals that process-focused thinking naturally leads to identity transformation. Instead of trying to achieve a goal to become a certain type of person, you become that type of person through daily process execution, which naturally leads to achieving the goal. You don't write a book to become a writer. You become a writer by writing consistently, which naturally results in completing books. You don't lose weight to become a healthy person. You become a healthy person by making healthy choices daily, which naturally results in weight loss. This identity-first approach is far more sustainable than outcome-first approaches. Chapter 3. Designing effective processes. Understanding the power of process-focused thinking is only the beginning. Meurisse provides practical guidance for designing processes that consistently move you toward your desired outcomes while remaining sustainable and enjoyable. The principle of small actions. The most effective processes are built on surprisingly small daily actions. Meurisse explains that most people overestimate what they can accomplish in the short term and underestimate the compound power of small, consistent actions over time. Instead of committing to write for 2 hours daily, commit to writing 1 paragraph. Instead of planning 90-minute workout sessions, commit to 10 minutes of daily movement. Instead of trying to completely overhaul your diet, commit to eating 1 healthy meal per day. These small actions feel manageable and build momentum that naturally leads to expansion over time. The minimum viable process. Meurisse introduces the concept of minimum viable process, the smallest possible daily action that still moves you toward your goal. This approach prevents the perfectionism and overwhelm that cause most people to abandon their efforts after a few days or weeks. The minimum viable process should be so small that it's almost impossible to fail, yet meaningful enough that consistent execution creates real progress. The key is making the barrier to entry so low that you'll do it even on your worst days, while designing it so that momentum naturally leads to doing more on your best days. Process triggers and cues. Effective processes don't rely on motivation or willpower. They're built on environmental cues and automatic triggers. Meurisse explains how to design your environment and schedule to make your desired processes feel natural and effortless, rather than requiring constant decision-making. This might involve setting out your workout clothes the night before, writing at the same time and place each day, or linking new habits to existing routines. The goal is to make your desired behaviors feel automatic, rather than requiring conscious effort and decision-making each time. Measurement and adjustment. Process-focused thinking doesn't ignore outcomes entirely. It measures them differently. Instead of only tracking end results, you primarily measure process consistency. Did you execute your daily writing practice? Did you follow your exercise routine? Did you maintain your healthy eating process? This measurement approach provides daily feedback and satisfaction rather than requiring you to wait weeks or months to know if you're succeeding. It also makes it easier to identify when adjustments are needed without abandoning your overall approach. Chapter 4. Overcoming process obstacles. Meurisse acknowledges that adopting process-focused thinking isn't always easy, especially in a culture obsessed with quick results and instant gratification. He addresses the common obstacles people face when trying to shift from outcome-focused to process-focused thinking. The patience challenge. Perhaps the biggest obstacle to process-focused thinking is our natural desire for immediate results. We live in an instant gratification culture where we expect to see progress quickly, and process-focused approaches often require patience as small actions compound over time. Meurisse suggests reframing patience not as passive waiting, but as active trust in the compound effect. Each day of process execution is an investment that will pay dividends, even when those dividends aren't immediately visible. The key is learning to find satisfaction in the execution itself, rather than only in visible progress. Social pressure and expectations. Another significant obstacle comes from social pressure to demonstrate quick results. Family, friends, and colleagues often ask about progress toward goals, expecting to hear about achievements and milestones rather than process consistency. The author recommends shifting conversations from outcomes to processes. Instead of discussing how much weight you've lost, talk about your consistency with healthy eating. Instead of reporting on income increases, share your commitment to daily skill development. This helps others understand your approach while reinforcing your own process-focused mindset. The perfectionism trap. Perfectionism can sabotage process-focused thinking by creating unrealistic standards for daily execution. When perfectionists have an off day in their process, they often abandon the entire approach rather than simply resuming the next day. Meurisse emphasizes that perfect process execution isn't the goal. Consistent process execution is. The person who executes their process imperfectly but consistently will achieve far more than the person who executes perfectly but sporadically. Building resilience to imperfection is essential for long-term success. Dealing with slow progress, even with process-focused thinking, there will be periods where progress feels slow or invisible. This is particularly challenging for people accustomed to outcome-focused approaches where visible progress provides motivation. The solution is understanding that all meaningful achievement follows similar patterns. Long periods of apparently slow progress followed by breakthrough moments where all the accumulated work suddenly produces visible results. The process-focused individual trusts this pattern and continues executing even when progress isn't immediately apparent. Chapter 5. Process-focused success in different areas. Meurisse demonstrates how process-focused thinking applies across various life domains, showing that the principles remain consistent while the specific applications adapt to different goals and circumstances. Health and fitness. In health and fitness, process-focused thinking means concentrating on daily habits rather than target weights or appearance goals. Instead of being motivated by losing 30 pounds, you're driven by today's meal planning, workout completion, or adequate sleep. This approach creates sustainable lifestyle changes rather than temporary interventions. The person focused on daily healthy processes naturally develops a healthy body, while the person focused only on weight loss often uses unsustainable methods that lead to eventual regain. Career and business. Professional success through process-focused thinking involves concentrating on daily skill development, relationship building, and value creation, rather than only focusing on promotions, income targets, or recognition. The process-focused professional asks, "How can I add value today?" rather than, "When will I get promoted?" They focus on becoming the type of person who naturally advances rather than trying to achieve advancement to become that type of person. Relationships and personal development. In relationships, process-focused thinking means concentrating on daily acts of kindness, communication, and connection rather than only focusing on relationship outcomes or milestones. For personal development, it means committing to daily practices of growth, reading, reflection, skill building, or mindfulness, rather than waiting for dramatic transformation or breakthrough moments. The process-focused individual understands that character development happens through small daily choices consistently made over time. Creative projects. Creative endeavors particularly benefit from process-focused thinking because creative work often involves long periods of uncertainty and experimentation before producing recognizable results. The process-focused artist commits to daily creative practice regardless of inspiration or immediate quality. They understand that creativity is developed through consistent engagement rather than waiting for perfect conditions or guaranteed outcomes. Chapter 6. Building process-focused habits. The final section focuses on practical implementation, how to actually build process-focused habits that stick and create lasting transformation in your life. Starting small and building momentum. Meurisse emphasizes the critical importance of starting with processes so small they seem almost insignificant. This approach prevents overwhelm while building the momentum and confidence needed for long-term success. The key is choosing a process that takes less than 5 minutes, but still moves you toward your goal. Once this becomes automatic, you can gradually expand, but the foundation must be built on consistency rather than intensity. Creating process rituals. Effective processes often benefit from ritual elements that signal the beginning and end of the activity. These rituals help create psychological boundaries and make the process feel special and important rather than just another task on your to-do list. This might involve a specific preparation routine before writing, a particular playlist for workouts, or a moment of intention setting before beginning your daily process. These rituals enhance focus and create positive associations with the process itself. Environmental design. Your environment either supports or sabotages your processes. Process-focused achievers intentionally design their physical and digital environments to make desired behaviors easier and unwanted behaviors more difficult. This involves removing obstacles to your desired processes while adding obstacles to competing behaviors. The writer might prepare their workspace the night before while putting their phone in another room. The fitness enthusiast might prepare healthy snacks while removing junk food from easy access. Community and accountability. While process-focused thinking is internally motivated, external support can significantly enhance consistency and enjoyment. This doesn't mean accountability for outcomes, but rather support for process execution. Finding others who share your commitment to process-focused approaches, whether through formal groups, informal partnerships, or online communities, provides encouragement, ideas, and motivation during challenging periods. Long-term process evolution. Effective processes aren't static. They evolve as you develop skills, change circumstances, and clarify goals. The process-focused individual regularly evaluates and adjusts their processes while maintaining their fundamental commitment to consistency. This might involve increasing intensity as habits become automatic, adjusting timing as schedules change, or incorporating new elements as understanding deepens. The key is maintaining flexibility in methods while staying committed to the fundamental principle of daily process execution. As we conclude our exploration of Focus on the Process by Thibaut Meurisse, let's take a moment to appreciate the profound simplicity and power of this approach to achievement. The transformation from outcome-focused to process-focused thinking isn't just a productivity technique. It's a fundamental shift in how you relate to your goals, your daily actions, and your identity. It's the difference between constantly chasing future satisfaction and finding fulfillment in present-moment excellence. The key insights we've discovered today include: outcome-focused thinking creates motivation problems, performance anxiety, and comparison traps. Process-focused thinking provides sustainable motivation, present-moment excellence, and identity transformation. Effective processes are built on small daily actions, environmental design, and minimum viable commitments. Common obstacles include impatience, social pressure, perfectionism, and periods of slow, visible progress. Process-focused principles apply across all life domains while adapting to specific circumstances. Implementation requires starting small, creating rituals, designing supportive environments, and allowing for evolution. Remember, the goal isn't to never think about outcomes. It's to make your daily process so compelling and rewarding that outcomes become natural byproducts rather than desperate pursuits. The person who masters process-focused thinking discovers something remarkable. The journey becomes more satisfying than the destination. The daily practice becomes more rewarding than the eventual achievement. The person you become through consistent process execution becomes more valuable than any external goal you might accomplish. This doesn't mean lowering your ambitions. It means raising your standards for how you pursue them. Instead of hoping for motivation to strike, you build systems that work regardless of how you feel. Instead of relying on perfect conditions, you create consistency in any conditions. Instead of being a someday achiever, you become an everyday executor. Your transformation starts today with a simple question. What is the smallest daily action I can commit to that moves me toward my most important goal? Start there. Execute consistently. Trust the process. As Meurisse reminds us, the secret to achieving your goals isn't complex strategies or perfect conditions. It's the simple commitment to focus on the process, show up consistently, and trust that small daily actions compound into extraordinary results over time. The process is the path. The process is the prize. The process is the point. Everything else is just a bonus that naturally follows when you master this simple but profound truth. Start small. Stay consistent. Trust the process. Your future self will thank you for making this shift today.